So I should mention before I get into the demo that we are still very early in development. We've just recently gone alpha, so we still have a lot of development to go. So not everything is perfect. You're going to see a few little glitches here and there. This is certainly not the final look of the game. But we wanted to get in front of you and show you that the game is actually running. So just show you a couple things really quickly here. I guess I'll start with Lucas. So, as I mentioned, just on the video, the game is actually running at 60 frames a second this year, which is a big improvement over the original Skate, which was 30 frames a second. We're running on PlayStation 3, as you see. We'll be out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Getting these parts here, and I'll show you some new things. So, just to show of hands, who actually played or is familiar with Skate, the original Skate? Anybody? You? So just a very quick overview of what we did in the original Skate was we took the concept of the tricks off of the buttons and put it onto the stick. So just like in real life, left stick controls your body, that's standard. But what we did was we actually put all the tricks on the right stick here. So what that means is by flicking the stick up or in any direction, you get a whole series of skate tricks. So that was kind of the evolution of the original Skate. We also did the ability with the triggers, or the R2 and L2 buttons, to grab with the left or right hand. And finally, the final thing we did was we allowed you to push with either foot. So one button, the cross button, was the left foot. Sorry, the square button was the left foot, and the X button was the right foot. So that's great. That's kind of what we did in Skate, and we were able to string together a whole series of tricks based on that. What we did for Skate 2 was we wanted to evolve that control system, but keep the simplicity of it. So what we've done is, again, as I said, you can push with either foot. Now what we do is we allow you to actually do it in the air. So you can actually go in the air, take a foot off the board, one hand, one foot, or the other. We allow you to grab the board and then take your foot off. You do things like fast plants. You do things in the air like extender tricks. Foot plants that way as well. So all that is just grabbing and pushing, which is two things we had last year, but combined in a new way to create all new tricks. Another thing that we've done with that is actually allows us to expand our vert transition skating, which we didn't have too much of in the original game. So you'll see here, if I can get up here, there's a lot more tricks in the air. It allows me to do one foot this way, you can do one foot with the other hand, the other foot, any sort of combination of them. I can also wipe out pretty good. So that's just basically taking what we did in the original game and expanding on it. Another thing we did was, as you saw in that video, is again combining two things we had last year. Grinding last year was not a matter of having a grind button. It was a matter of actually just getting on something you can grind and you would automatically grind it. What we did this year is we took that and we threw in the ability to grab the board. So now you can actually do grind grabs while you're grinding. So that's cool. That's just taking things that we already had in the original game and expanding on them. So again, grabbing, pushing, grabbing and grinding, etc. Just combining the flick of controls from the original game. What we did want to do though was add one new button this year, which is the R1 button or right bumper on the 360, which is grab the world. What that allows you to do is things like hand plants on transition. You can also combine that with taking your feet off the board. So if you go foot plant and take one foot off, or take the other foot off, you can actually combine your tricks that way, or take both feet off. So what we've done is essentially double the tricks in the original Skate just by combining those same combinations of things that we had in the original game in new ways. More importantly though, one thing we really wanted to get in the first game, but wanted to focus on the skating, which is the ability to actually get off the board now. So now you can actually walk around, which is fun in and of itself, but not really a feature. So I'm off the board, what can I do? Well, that grab the world button I showed you, now you can actually grab onto objects. Pretty much anything in the world that looks like it can be moved can be moved. Right now, for this demo purposes, we're actually in a skate park, so the objects that you can move are fairly obvious as far as these bright orange ramps and rails. But to skaters in the real world, they can move anything. So what we want to do is mimic that in the game. You'll see in other areas of the game, for example, if you're in the downtown area, a dumpster looks like I can move it, a bench looks like I can move it, you can move it. If it's not bolted to the ground, you can move it around. So what that allows you to do essentially is create an endless combination of new ways to skate. Combine that with obviously things like our video editor system, the skate reel that people enjoy doing. I'm really quite excited about what we're going to be able to do with that. So here's an example of how you can expand your gameplay. So pick a table here, move that over here. I'm always under pressure when I try and do this, so I may not get it on the first try. So I move that ramp a little bit into position, move that picnic table where I want it, and now I can actually get a little combo. As I said, not always good under pressure. Anyway, The idea being you can actually string together any series of combos. One thing I didn't mention as well is last year, push with left foot, push with the right foot, that's all well and good, but what happens if you push with both feet? Now you push both buttons, release them at the same time, you do what's called the hippie jump, which separates you from your board, something we weren't able to do last year. It allows you to do some pretty cool tricks, if I can pull it off, like that. So you can actually, you see some videos last year where people were doing those kind of tricks, but essentially it was them doing a flip trick between a rail so their board separated. This year we give you the ability to control when you do that. So you can do those kind of tricks. So that gives you an idea of how we sort of evolved the flipping controls. As far as the city itself, the concept is, we'll talk about it in Skate It in a second, is that the city of San Banalona, which was the setting for the original skate, has actually been completely destroyed by an unknown disaster or a series of disasters. So what that's allowed us to do is, in the 5 years between the original Skate and Skate 2, is have a company come in and actually rebuild the whole city for us. So as a result, we've got an entirely new play space for Skate 2. It's the same size of the city of the original Skate, but a lot more skatable areas because the city has been rebuilt. Obviously we're in a skate park now, this is a new location. What I'm going to do is just jump out of here really quick and take you to another part of the city which you could see in the original Skate. It was the mountain which was off in the distance, but you couldn't get to it. This year you can actually skate the mountain as well. And to show you that, I'm actually going to jump into a third mode here, which is what we're calling our Hall of Meat mode, as you saw in the video there. What that allows us to do this year is take gameplay that existed in the original game, which was people wiped out. It's not the easiest control scheme to get used to, so there was a lot of inherent failing that was happening. So what we've done is we've actually made that into a game mode this year. Partnered with Thrasher magazine, who has a Hall of Meat in their magazine, talks about gnarly injuries that people have. And we've actually made that part of the game. So what we're doing here is, this is the party play version of it, which would be kind of the pass the controller, play with your friends, try and injure yourself as badly as you can. We have this in the single player campaign as well, which is as you're just playing along, if you miss a trick and you wipe out and you bail, well, that's actually going to activate a Hall of Meat challenge. You'll have a series of challenges that you can do in the Hall of Meat mode as well. Just to give you an idea of what we're talking about, you can bail on demand at any time by squeezing both the triggers and pushing them both the sticks. So I'll do that to start with. And I can actually spin my body, I can create new gestures. So by using the left stick, I can spin my body in any direction. By using the right stick, I'll do things like spread eagle or go into torpedo, as you saw. And then I can combine that with the speed that I fell, the distance that I fell, the impact that I had, the number of bones that I broke. All that kind of stuff combines together into... So I'll do a gesture, and I'll spin around, and I'll hit some boxes. All those things combined, you see them popping up here, as you hit objects, you hit people, whatever, it combines to create this score. And the goal is, in the party play version of these, is to actually try and hurt yourself worse than your friend. But as I said, this actually is a mode that takes place in the single player campaign as well, so it's sort of almost a reward for wiping out instead of penalizing you. So, not bad, 13,000, 42. So anyway, that gives you, what I'd like to do is actually pass it over to Mike, but I will be here after Mike's finished. Love to do some hands-on time with you, any one-on-one questions, interviews, happy to give them to you. But for now, that gives you a sneak peek of what we're showing for Skate 2 today, and I'd like to pass it over to Mike McCartney, who is the producer on Skate It.